So Robert Plant got a bad case of the flu and laryngitis for the timeline we'll discuss today. I got the flu, so I thought I'm in the proper conditions to discuss the events of early April 1977. This is not method acting, but method research and voiceover, I guess. Welcome to the episode. Tuesday, January 25th, 1977. American keyboard legend Gary Wright hoped to repeat his Dreamweaver success with his underrated follow-up, The Light of Smiles. Back in London, it was a busy day at Swan Song offices as Led Zeppelin's upcoming tour press release went out. First 10 dates included opening night, February 27th at Fort Worth, Texas, followed by Houston, Baton Rouge, Oklahoma City on March 3rd, Dallas the next day, Tempe, Arizona on the 6th, San Diego on March 8th, and a then 3-night series at the LA Forum. The band worked hard at rehearsals and couldn't wait to take their mammoth set list on the road. You can watch my Manticore Sessions episode here on the channel. Tickets went on sale as the song remains the same soundtrack began its slow descent from a peak position number 2 on the Billboard chart. The album faded out by April, but the buzz around the movie was still hot, and their 1977 tour was the kind of event every American rock connoisseur wanted to attend. Fans in Dallas camped out the day before. Everybody was going nuts while patiently waiting for their purchase. Oklahoma City shared the same frenzy with their own January 30th State Fairgrounds Arena ticket sale event. Yet Led Zeppelin's 1977 visit was scheduled for a newer, bigger venue, the Myriad Convention Center. Excited fans got their prize. Reports of 14,000 tickets sold by Monday, January 31st confirmed the band's stature alongside Elvis as one of the 2 hottest names in the American concert business that year. A February 2nd press release said all tickets vanished in 4 hours. Some Oklahoma fans had to go as far as Tulsa's Assembly Center to score their paper treasures, those coveted tickets to rock's most anticipated tour. It was a big deal for the locals. Led Zeppelin hadn't played Oklahoma since their 2-day visit in 1970, with shows on August 20th at the State Fairgrounds Arena and August 21st at Tulsa's Assembly Center, just in time for Robert Plant's 22nd birthday. Sources say he received plenty of birthday gifts behind closed doors, where he gave every inch of his love, sending folks right back to schooling. As you'd expect with Led Zeppelin 1970, they were truly epic shows that elevated their working band status while developing a stronger stage identity. One of Bonzo's most iconic drum photographs was shot at Tulsa. The State Fairgrounds Arena witnessed the last glimpse between hustle and stardom, the last traces of bearded Jimmy Page with a hat, changing lanes of artisanal ingenuity into full-blown theatrics. Oklahoma had to wait 6 long years and 6 months to see their heroes again, with 4 studio albums released in between. That's more than half a decade of Zeppelin fever, unresolved fever. But for a moment, everyone's worst fear took hold as tour cancellation rumors spread faster than Fleetwood Mac's rumors. Word on the street was that Robert Plant was sick with laryngitis, and unlike 1975, there would be no pushing through this time. He had to rest and recover for the remainder of the month and beyond. February 27th came and there was no opening night in the States. No word on the 28th, March 1st, nor March 2nd. Until Thursday, March 3rd, the very day of Led Zeppelin's scheduled return to Oklahoma City. A press release went out addressing Robert Plant's illness, forcing them to reschedule the Myriad show to Sunday, April 3rd. Refunds were offered starting March 18th, but nobody wanted their money back. They just wanted to see the band. So all fans could do was wait patiently while inhaling hope. This sentiment was shared for all 10 dates announced back in January. A similar ad ran on the Dallas Morning News on March 7th, letting fans know their show was moved down to April 1st. While Robert Plant recovered back home and his bandmates wondered how he got sick again, there was growing and deeper concerns for the instrumentalists Jones, Page, and Bonham. All their gear had been shipped to America midway through February in time for the tour. This meant they didn't have their touring instruments on hand, but leisure time, while anxiety mounted. How much practice they had on their own remains a mystery.
What? Lozenges? I've got a real cough.
These aren't just lozenges, old son. The new Vicks cough calmers.
New Vicks cough calmers. Real cough medicine in solid form. Only from your chemist.
Keith Richards was busted for heroin possession in Toronto on February 27, 1977. The very same week, Led Zeppelin postponed their first leg of their 1977 tour. To the disappointment of thousands of enthusiastic Canadian fans, All 3 Zeppelin dates in the country were not rescheduled, but outright cancelled. Speculation suggests that the Zeppelin camp wanted to avoid heightened police scrutiny following Keith's high-profile arrest. According to Peter Grant's book and other sources, it's likely that the band received strong legal advice to steer clear of potential trouble north of the border, especially since their legal team knew the US landscape far better. It was the 70s after all, and every rock and roll entourage carried its fair share of substances that could attract the wrong kind of attention. The last thing they needed was to get caught, or worse, be set up by rivals or shady players in the business. March 1977 saw a wave of major album releases, including Foreigner's chart-topping debut and 4 live albums by Status Quo, Marvin Gaye, REO Speedwagon, and Jeff Beck's exquisite jams with the Jan Hammer Group. Emerson, Lake & Palmer's Works Volume 1 dropped on the 25th, and you can help but wonder if John Paul Jones took inspiration from Keith Emerson's piano concerto for his no-quarter grand piano improvisations. The Commodores' 5th album brought them brick house success, while German bands Can and Kraftwerk sent groovacious new wave shivers across the soundscape. Saturday, March 26, 1977, Saturday Night Live aired episode 41, hosted by Jack Burns with a special musical guest, Santana. They performed their most recent hit, Europa, along with a blast from the past, Black Magic Woman. An interesting fact about this lineup, it featured Woodstock-era percussion genius José Pitoreas on timbales. Carlos and his band delivered a performance that was nothing short of electrifying. Sunday, March 27th, Led Zeppelin landed at JFK Airport in Queens, New York. From there, they were transferred to their Boeing 720 private jet, Caesar's Chariot, which now replaced the permanently grounded Starship. The band then headed to Dallas for a week of pre-production duties, reviewing their gear, lighting rig, stage dynamics, and conducting a 3-day rehearsal at the venue ahead of opening night. They were clearly aware of possible musical rust following the tour's pushback to April. Dallas's Memorial Auditorium was a familiar landmark in their concert history. By 1977, they had played 5 shows there, the most recent being March 1975. The venue had seen heavy activity in 1976, hosting 26 concerts. Highlights included Foggett and Journey in February, Ted Nugent, Bad Company, Chicago, and Leonard Skinner in March, Joe Cocker and REO Speedwagon in April, Average White Band on July 28th, and Elvis Presley, who closed out the year with a sold-out show on December 28th. 1977 opened with a double bill of Santana and Journey on February 11th, followed by Rufus and Chaka Khan on February 26th. After that, the stage went quiet throughout March. Next in line, Led Zeppelin.
At 55 miles per hour, you save gasoline, which is real money these days. 55 saves lives. Since 1974, 55 has been the single biggest factor in reducing highway deaths. One of them could be you. 55 saves lives.
Friday, April 1st, April Fool's Day, 1977. Opening night for Page, Plant Jones and Bonham, their final North American tour, and the only time they would ever launch one, in Dallas. The band played a 19-song set list, including the first of 18 times Trample Underfoot was performed on tour. Photographs were all fans had for this show and wonder what was it like, but fortunately for us, Zeppelin scholars, there was a surprising 2023 video release that you can find on Led Zepp Films' fantastic YouTube channel. Although there is no audio from this show, judging by the footage, we can see Page looking quite healthy, as opposed to other 1977 snapshots down the line. The rhythm section delivers quite a convincing stage show. That 3-day rehearsal time at the venue certainly helped them feel comfortable with the sound and dynamics. Check out Jones's 12-string guitar on 10 Years Gone. He would get his signature 3-neck instrument a month later. Jones and Page wore standard white outfits for the tour. Bonzo wore a groovy colored wife beater, but it's Robert Plant's comeback what's most fascinating, as you witness the very act of reclaiming the stage. He picks up a gift of herbs, gives it a whiff, and playfully kicks it aside. His outfit, however, raised eyebrows. An orange and blue patchwork design that clashes with the slick, electric look of his bandmates. Unsurprisingly, he only wore it twice more, on April 7th in Chicago and April 17th at Indianapolis Market Square Arena. The colors feel more 1975 than 1977. Instead of symbolizing a triumphant return to North America, the outfit almost reads like a parody of one. I'm sure they burned the outfit past April. Led Zeppelin then headed up north to Oklahoma City for the second show of the tour at the Myriad Convention Center, which opened its doors in November 1972. Besides becoming the home for the Oklahoma City Blazers, it saw 35 concerts hosted there, including Elvis Presley in 1973 and 1976. Led Zeppelin's setlist on April 3rd was pretty much the same as opening night, with them just switching up the encores, with Trample Underfoot closing the show. Since Led Zeppelin hadn't played Oklahoma since 1970, the current setlist was, for local fans, almost entirely a first-time live experience. Aside from Since I've Been Loving You and Bonham's drum solo, none of the material had been heard on an Oklahoma stage. Everything else was kind of a live premiere, so it's easy to imagine the huge anticipation feel inside the venue. Oklahoma had missed out on the tours for Untitled, Houses of the Holy, and Physical Graffiti. That's a lot of music to wait for, desperately. Now, outfit-wise, Bonham reprised the same shirt as Dallas, and Robert premiered his most frequent 1977 piece, a deep burgundy jacket that would be featured on many photographs from this time period. Oklahoma has been the source of much fan discussion, as the show has been called sloppy, often making the list of the worst Led Zeppelin shows. Some of the songs were better than others, and you can tell which ones they rehearsed the most, based on muscle memory. It has to be said, Jimmy Page faced some difficulty on the electric soloing side of things throughout the show. Now, he had no problems with the acoustic sitting down stuff, but battled his way through White Summer. He looked healthy in Dallas, so what happened? We can think the Manticore rehearsals ended in early February, and the instruments got shipped to the States on the 20th, a week before the original opening night on the 27th. So that didn't happen, and things were rescheduled for April. Now, it's safe to think the instruments stayed in Texas to save on shipping costs. So Page was separated from his electrics for 1 month and 11 days, until they went through the 3-day rehearsal in Dallas. As a guitarist myself, I can tell you, not practicing for a couple of days is bad for you. Now think of a millionaire rock star and the possible distractions he may have had, and it's not a good combination. The early April dates were a wake-up call for Jimmy, no question. Luckily, he had the world's greatest rhythm section behind, and Robert Plant probably staring at him. So let's dive deep into the band's last ever show in this city, and the first where they had to travel after a week-long stay in Dallas. April 3rd had Boston play the Spectrum Philadelphia, Kansas hit the Palladium New York, and Genesis go for Wind and Wuthering at the Paramount Theater Seattle. Let's go back to Oklahoma, 1977.
every 2 years, right? sort of vary it a little bit, like way back in the 60s.
The 1977 concert schedule at the Myriad Convention Center continued, with 15 more shows through November, with names like the Eagles, Alice Cooper, Yes and Donovan in October, followed by Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Kiss with opening band Swan Song's own Detective, and Rod Stewart on November 30th. As for Led Zeppelin, Oklahoma's concert reviews were positive. Although critics did say they were not the tightest band, there was an overall feeling of gratitude. The fact the group came after postponing their March 3rd date was something to celebrate. The press was quite nice on their lengthy individual solo spots. It was a sign they really cared for the greatest band of the 70s, looking and playing the part. Led Zeppelin boarded Caesar's Chariot for their next destination, a 4-night series at Chicago Stadium. Spirits high, instruments at hand, changing course, fly away. Thank you for watching this concert retrospective, and stay tuned for the next Zeppelin chapter. Bye bye.